Hey friends, welcome to the next episode of the Handyman Success Podcast. We are super excited to have you here. I am one of the co-hosts, Alan Lee, joined by Jason Call. And we are here basically to share the stories of successful handyman business owners in light to help teach and inspire you guys to do better and get out there and make a difference in this world. Today we are joined by Keith Donahue. Keith, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business and where you're located.
Hey guys, this is Keith Donahue from New Jersey. I run Dr. Fix-It, and I started this handyman business just because everybody said they couldn't find a guy to do small jobs. So now I'm that guy.
Awesome. What year did you start?
So it was 2018.
Okay. Awesome.
In August 2018.
Okay. So about 3 years in business then.
2019.
Okay. 2 years in business.
Okay. I'm just over 2 years.
Okay. That's a pretty fast track you're on. So on that note, if you could kind of, share with our listeners, like where you're at now in your business. So, how many guys you have working for you, maybe what kind of roles that they're in. If you have an idea of like your projected like revenue for this year, or if you know the last year, just so we could put a pin in where you're at now before we start digging into how you got to where you are now.
Okay. So right now I have 4 guys plus me. So it's 5 total. Right now, I am projected to do over $500,000 before the end of the year.
Awesome.
I didn't have 5 guys all year, though. So I think it was I was roughly 2 to 3 guys most of the year. And now I'm kind of getting up to 4 guys. It's kind of hard finding guys that'll stick around or guys that know what they're doing.
So when you say guys, are they all technicians, or what are their roles in the business?
So I have a foreman who is my lead carpenter, and he can do, I can put him on anything. He can do anything. I have a professional painter. I have another carpenter that's pretty good. He's not as good as my top one, but he's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a helper, and then it's me.
Okay. So it sounds like you've kind of hired people that are like do certain things rather than one person that does everything. How has that worked out? I mean, what is that like?
It's tough. So my lead guy, I could put on any job. The other carpenter, I could probably put him on 90% of the jobs, 95% of the jobs. The painter can only do painting, and he does some concrete work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the helper, he is, we call it a tech in training. I call him a junior tech. So we have junior techs, technicians, lead technicians, and a foreman. They're the company positions that I created for the guys in the field.
Okay. Is there a certain, like, what kind of work do you focus on? Anything in particular? Obviously, you got a painter, so you must get a lot of do a lot of painting. But is it all kind of across the board handyman stuff? And what kind of work are you guys fielding?
So last year we took on anything that broke, we went and fixed it. This year I'm kind of concentrating on a lot of interior stuff. So it could be bathroom remodels, taking out an old tile shower, just redoing a shower, drywall repairs, painting, deck repairs, deck staining, fence repairs. Like, a storm comes through, blows down the fence, we'll do fence repairs.
Mm-hmm.
Just basic maintenance stuff or repair stuff that needs to get done. We don't really get into like heavy remodels or anything like that. But just basic repairs. Prepping homes for sale is a huge one. A lot of people don't advertise for that. I advertise for prepping for homes. My name is out there. We get a lot of phone calls. We're doing at least 1 to 2 a month.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
a decent ticket.
Okay, so is that like a full like couple days, like going into a home and just
It
doing
could
a
be
ton of stuff?
a week to a week and a half with the full
Okay.
crew.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you say your average like job size is like in terms of dollars per job? Like what would your typical dollars per work order be?
Um, it varies. So 1,500 to 2,000.
Okay.
Roughly.
So around that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious too. So with yourself and then four guys, are you splitting up into a couple different crews most days, or do you go off and do like some stuff only you can do, or how does the logistics work of managing that?
That's a great question. So my lead guy, I can put him on anything. So when there's smaller jobs, we'll split up and the helper will go where we need an extra set of hands. So like this week we have, a flooring job. There'll be two of us on the flooring job tomorrow. We had some rot repair and painting on the exterior and interior painting. So I had the helper and my lead guy on that job. And then we had a painting job in another township where it was one guy and then two guys at one time painting a kitchen and a dining room. So there was basically 3 to 4 jobs. There'll be 5 jobs total this week, and most of them were 1 to 2 day jobs.
Okay.
So it's constantly flowing around.
So you're
But
kind of
these
just
guys
shifting
know-
people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If we don't mind digging into a little bit more of like the staff, because I know a lot of people try and like, how the heck do I get 4 guys? And then, I mean, Keith is doing this interview too from the Home Depot parking lot, like a true handyman business owner. I want to shout that out.
Yes,
man,
I
So, is there a reason why? So, most people that we've talked to, they have like someone by now, like a dedicated customer relations person to answer the phone, emails, and things like that. How does that work? And is there a reason why? Do you do that yourself? And is there a particular reason why that is so? And you just have the technicians.
So here's the thing. I'm still setting up processes to how my technicians should communicate with the customer, what they do, like how to do drywall jobs. They'll open up my app. We use Markate, and if they're doing drywall, I have the process that we do our drywall with, as far as laying down the tarps to cleaning up, taking photos before and after. Every time the drywall job comes up, the same checklist goes out. If they're doing painting, the same checklist. So I'm trying to dial that in so I can scale up next year with more technicians. By next year, I do want a customer service relations person in there and a manager to run it. This way I can concentrate on getting more work and then finding a sales guy that I can mold, get them in our group and get them moving. This way I can kind of move into my next step of this process.
Okay. So you're primarily just trying to stay in the game and like document everything into market.
It's hard.
And,
Yeah.
Okay. So are you currently the one taking all the phone calls and all the emails right now?
Yes, and I'm doing okay. Last year I was really good at it. I got back to people within a day to 48 hours. This year I'm struggling because the volume of calls right now. I use Jason's doing my website, which helped me out tremendously. And I have other sources that I use for leads, so I can't even keep up right now. So I would suggest getting a customer service person to help out, or a secretary or someone to run the office. It would help, but I'm not at the point where I want to do that right now because I don't have enough steady guys that show up all the time. That right there is a full-time job, just hiring and keeping guys going is a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So go ahead. Sorry.
You're gonna go through a lot of people. You're like, from when I first started, I bet you I went through 6, 7 guys, maybe 8 guys. That just, you're gonna have guys that come in and say they can do, oh, I can build a house, and they can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too. People oversell themselves. So that's like a tough thing that I'm struggling with right now.
Definitely. People talk a good talk, but you don't actually know till you get them on the books to see how they work. So definitely. Hey, Keith, could you walk us through kind of the history of when you started this business and kind of what brought you to this point? How'd you get started?
So I guess we all say the same thing for freedom, but it's not freedom.
Yeah, you haven't found that yet. Yeah, I know. People are still looking for it.
From the Home Depot parking lot.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was sick of working for people, sick of taking orders. And I'm like, well, you know, I was working full time, and I was like, let me start this on the side. So I started my business, and I started getting work, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And, you know, I'm doing Angie's List. I'm doing Home Advisor, or, you know, whatever it was. Whatever app I could do to get me work, I did it. Then I joined a handyman group, and then, you know, you listen to the other guys in there, and they're giving you ideas, and then it's a website, and I, you know, had this cool website, and it was horrible, but it was cool to me because it was mine. And then, you know, it's just, at that point, I think I landed my first really big job to me, which today I probably wouldn't even have done it for that price, knowing my numbers now. But, and I was like, you know, this is pretty cool. I can make, you know, a decent living. And I just went into work one day, and I called my wife. I said, I think I'm going to quit at lunch.
Oh, wow.
Like,
okay.
She was like, no, we'll talk about it. So I called her like 20 minutes later. I said, hey, hon, I'm on my way home. She's like, what? I said, yeah, I'm my own boss now. So I left. I called the guy like at the end of the day. I said, you know, I'm just letting you know I left. I'm not coming back. Well, what happened? Well, I started my business a while ago, and I just want to go for it. And that was probably a year and 8 months ago.
Wow.
Year and 7 months ago.
Wow.
So
what was your job then?
I was a machinist.
Okay.
A CNC machinist. So I was always a lead foreman, a lead guy on, you know, just, you know, I can make anything out of metal. So I did that most of my life. So blueprint reading, all that stuff. I'm used to all that stuff, building stuff. I built offices when I was younger, cafeterias. So I had some experience before I got into this. But so bringing us back to me walking out, I was mighty big and bad. I had a week backlog. I was ready to hit the world.
Yeah.
Well, the next day I started getting scared. It's like, what did I do?
What did I do?
I quit. I had a paycheck. Why did I quit? But that was over a year and a half, year and 6 months ago, something like that. I haven't looked back. I mean, it's been crazy. So if you want to see as far as how crazy it is, I can share numbers if you want.
Yeah.
Lay it on us.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Okay, so the first year, my accountant says, man, you were profitable. Profitable? How do you consider profit? You know how much money I put into this business? Well, you made $5,000. I said, what? That was my gross sales. It was right around 5,000. That was my first year in business. And it was only a couple months. You know, by the time I opened it, got it going, got my first couple jobs, it was right around $5,000-$6,000, something like that. So year 2, that was last year on the books. I was at 140, right around there. This year, I'm projected to do over $500,000. Right now, I'm at close to breaking 400 now.
Wow.
400,000.
That's fantastic. And how many people did you have working for you last year when you hit that 140?
Me and a helper.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Wow. And so would you say that growth from 140 to 5 has been just because of the addition of people, or have you started taking on bigger jobs? Have you changed your pricing? What would you attribute that to?
It's a couple things. So knowing your numbers, and this is to all the new guys out there, don't be the $50 an hour guy.
Mm-hmm.
I did it last year, the year before. This year, I said, I'm not doing it. I would go out, try to make that extra $50, $75. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You're killing yourself working all these hours for $75. Well, if your truck breaks down, you get a flat tire, something goes wrong, that $75 doesn't cover anything.
Nope.
Know your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Know your numbers. And here's an example right here. I had a paint job last year in January, and I quoted $1,200. She canceled because of COVID. She called me up. She was like, can you do that painting? Absolutely. I got to requote the job though. She was like, why? I said, it was over a year ago. My numbers changed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was $1,200. I went and quoted it, sent her a quote last night, $1,900. Know your numbers.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. That's really fantastic. Do you mind sharing what your hourly rate is right now, or hourly need? You mind sharing that?
Yeah, and I think it's low, and it's getting ready to go up again. I'm $87.50 an hour.
Okay. $87.50. Nice.
Yeah. So we always like to talk about the pricing journey, I think is what we've called it. So, you mentioned kind of being that $50 an hour guy. If you don't mind kind of walking us through like where you started with your pricing and estimating and how you did it and to now, like how do you look at estimating and pricing and like how would you quote a job today?
Okay, so when I first started, I think I was at $60 an hour. I was like, wow, man, $60 an hour. That's way more than I make now. I was making 34. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. I could do a lot. I'm wealthy now. You're not. By the time you pay for your general liability, all that stuff at the end of the year, 60 is nothing. I raised it up to 65. Then I think I joined the Handyman group with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went up to 75, and then last year I went up to 85. I made it 87.50. I am thinking about toying about going around $100 an hour because I was talking to another handyman, and he said he's right around $100 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I am probably before the end of the year, I'll jump up again.
Nice.
Yeah, I think you could do it, man.
There's guys out there way more than me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know just because we work together, you talked kind of like before we started here about, there's a lot of jobs you have to show up to and check it out yourself to do that quote. So what are you doing to kind of minimize your time spent going out and giving estimates? And like, I know you promote people to text you, email you photos, and you try and get as many photos as you can. So, can you talk us through like what you try and do there and just maybe some hiccups and why you have to go and see some jobs over the others?
Yeah, absolutely. So the key thing is when a customer contacts us through our website, I try to get all their information so I have it, their address, phone number, email. That is all worth a lot of money to get their information for marketing later. But then the other thing is they'll give you a description of what they need done. But I take it a step further, and I'll leave that on my voicemail. I'll say, if you want faster service, go to our website, do this, and send photos. If we don't have photos, it will take longer. So anybody that sends photos, I can call them up while I'm in my truck and say, hey, yeah, I saw that. I saw this. I think this job is probably going to be around $800 to $1,100. And this is where the shampoo comes in. I think we could do it for that price. If you're okay with those numbers, after we talk and get to know each other, then I'll go out. But that's jobs I'm really comfortable on. There's some jobs that you have to go out and see. So I'll look at the photos and kind of have a number in my head, but I'm not really sure. So I got to go look at the job. And that happens a lot. It's about 50-50 on what you have to see and what you don't. Because even though you're kind of losing money if you're not charging to go see this job, and you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather lose that hour than lose 20 or 30 hours because I quoted wrong.
Right. Right.
So,
So you,
you
do you
know,
do the
it's
free estimate, or do you have any kind of charge that you add on, if they do accept, or
so on the jobs that I know my numbers and I give them a solid number, that's going to be $1,000 to do that. If they still want me to come out, yeah, I'll charge $150 to come out. I don't do that on every job. I'm not comfortable with that yet, but
Mhm.
next year, yes, we will be charging for estimates.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Awesome. So can you walk us through like some of your, throughout business, some of your biggest wins that you've experienced in business? And you've been in surprisingly, you just started up in August of 2019 and you're already almost at $500,000. That's absolutely amazing. Do you mind kind of sharing with us some of your biggest wins, both in business and personal, that you've experienced through this year and a half?
Biggest win is it's great when you get recommended on like social media, websites, or referred by a friend. But now that it's happening all the time, it just feels good, and you're doing something right. Yeah, I was recommended by this person. That's a huge win,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if it's you or another technician that did it. We know we're doing something right, with our company, because we have high standards. My guys don't get away with anything. I treat them very well. I pay them very well, but I expect top-notch service for my customers. So
That's awesome.
that's a
That's
win.
fantastic.
yeah, I definitely think you need to be at least $100 an hour, man. Got the high quality of the
Right.
output. You take care of your employees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, this year we're going to be offering health insurance too.
Oh, very
So
cool.
the prices will be going up probably within the next month or two.
Hey, that's a good question because that came up on the last podcast. Who do you talk to when you want to, you know, start offering medical insurance? Who'd you talk to figure that out and get that set up?
My wife.
And there you go. So you asked your wife and she pointed you in the right
So
direction. That's awesome.
she found some. There was a state-run program for New Jersey
Mm-hmm.
that offers medical insurance for small businesses. So here in Jersey, you need a minimum of 2 people on the policy to get insurance. So I found something pretty decent. Well, I think it's pretty good for me and my employees. So this way they're comfortable. They won't go broke if something happens,
Mm-hmm.
and they're happy. And I know it's scary in the beginning, but that's the only way you're going to get these top, A players.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have something to offer these guys, they're not going to come to us. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I'm looking to grow this company fast.
Do you offer any other benefits for your employees, or will this be the first one?
No, so we offer paid reviews. If you get a review through Google, Facebook, or anything, your name has to be in there. It's $5 a review.
Okay.
I'm trying to implement. Working on details with my foreman right now. A bonus program where, just say it's a 50-hour job, and it's been in the talks for like 3 months, and we're trying to figure it out where it doesn't affect quality. But just say
Mm-hmm.
you have a 50-hour job, the guy finishes in 40, he gets paid for the 50, even though he only worked 40.
Right.
What we're
Okay.
worried about is guys cutting corners to make more money, and the customer pays for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to come up with something that, if the guy cuts corners, he's held like to a strict standard and possibly loses his job if he cuts corners.
Yeah, I mean that would have
Good
to
if they're
be
quick, but I don't want the customers being taken advantage of just to make money.
right. Right. Yeah, that would
That's a
have
tricky one.
that would have to be tied into like comeback ratio. Like if that job turns into a comeback, you're not gonna get that extra 10 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I forget my policy. It's either two comebacks or 3 comebacks in a 6-month period or something like that. I have to look it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. makes sense. Sounds like that's something that you would definitely need to implement for sure.
I want to ask if you don't mind sharing on the health insurance side. What kind of cost is that? Like, is it per employee? I know you said 2 minimum. If you can kind of shed a little light on that for people that might be interested.
Yeah, absolutely. So the plan we were looking at, it's pretty crazy because they do go by age and they charge you by age. So if you're 44 or 45, they charge you this much. If you're 25, you're down here. So it's pretty crazy how they do that. But
yeah,
if the employer does 50-50 like I am, the plan I picked out for single guys or single girls, it would be roughly about $400 a month. $400 for me, $400 for the employee, and that would come out of their check probably weekly. I wouldn't hit them all at once, but I'm looking for a plan where it's a low deductible or no deductible, and then I think the max out of pocket was like $3,000 or $3,500 or something like that. So it was a pretty good plan.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've had to look at health insurance stuff, but that sounds on par with something at least pretty decent.
So some of them I saw were like $7,000-8,000 out of pocket max, and I'm like, a normal person will go broke over this. So I didn't want to offer that.
Yeah, I do like the health. It's a little off topic, but the health bracket. I mean, it's logical. It's kind of it seems a little messed up, but like at my corporate job, I paid the same rate as the guy who was going in for all kinds of stuff on a regular basis, and it was just one big pool rather than something that's a little bit more unique to.
Now, I don't know if that's only for smaller companies.
Probably
that they do that, but they say there shouldn't be age discrimination, and I brought it up. I was like, are you asking our age to discriminate against us?
Yeah. So if you're talking, so it's $400 that you have to pay per employee, correct? So that's $1,600 per month that comes out of your pocket.
No, $400 a month.
But
so
but for everyone, for all four.
So I think 2 of my guys need it, 2 guys don't need it.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, so it's
it'll
whoever
be
accepts it
for the 2 guys.
Okay, I got you. And it's $400 that they have to pay out of pocket as well. And does that just come out of their paycheck? Their half of $400?
So I would have the payroll company take care of that. I don't know.
Okay.
I just emailed my payroll guy, which I met through BNI. They take care of my payroll, and any questions with paychecks or anything like that, I just email him and he handles it. Just send it over to me. I'll take care of it. Now, typically with payroll companies, they do charge you per transaction. So if there's child support or health care or this or that payments coming out, they charge you so much per transaction or whatever, but it's not that bad. I know it seems a lot, but at the end of the day, we're not an accountant, we don't do payroll, so let someone that does it handle it.
Yeah, for sure. I heard you mention BNI. Do you mind explaining for our listeners what BNI is, and are you involved in it, and how long have you been involved in it? What have been the good things?
So I joined BNI just when COVID happened.
Okay.
And last year, so BNI is a business networking group. It's all over the U.S. I think it's global, actually. So I can call up different chapters in my area, sit in on meetings, and find new customers. So it's a referral-based program where, like in my current chapter, there's a realtor, there's a electrician, there's a painter, a mortgage guy, insurance guy. So out of my chapter, I think I did roughly about $35,000 to $40,000 last year.
Wow! And how much did it cost?
Yeah, $600 a year.
Wow, that's a good ROI.
Yeah. And that's probably
huge, So I'm a huge advocate of networking, personal networking. So BNI's Chamber of Commerce, I think that they're massively underutilized in the trade industry as a whole. And I think 100%, or maybe 99.9% underutilized by Handyman. Keith being the 0.1% that's actually getting out there, joining the BNI and doing that. But there's so much opportunity there with creating that personal referral network.
But that all goes back to the Handyman group that I joined with Alan. So all the guys on there, even the I don't want to say old timers because they're old. I'm just saying old timers as being in business for a while. Most of those guys will tell you, hey, I joined this when I first started. I did Angie's List. I did this. I did that. There's business groups that you can join. They'll tell you how to get your feet wet and get some leads in. And then, the real ticket is, getting your website going and doing a good one. Because my first one was Vistaprint, and it didn't do anything for me. I had a website. I was happy, but the website should be selling too. Definitely. And now my website is growing and growing my business, I think. So, BNI is it's a great investment for $600 and, $35,000 to $40,000 in return. That's a huge return on investment. Huge.
Definitely. And I love that you brought up the Handyman group. And I think we should mention that for our listeners here is we do have the Handyman Journey Facebook mastermind group is an amazing thing to get involved in. And then also we just created a new one, the Handyman Success Mastermind group on Facebook. And that's where everyone who's ever been on this podcast is going to be in that group. So you can tag them, you can ask them questions. We explained it last time. It's kind of the after party of these podcasts. So you can actually get and join in on the conversation. So join that group and tag Keith in there. I mean, I'm sure that he, you can learn a whole heck of a lot from him. And that's fantastic that you brought that up. How would someone find a BNI group if they wanted to join one?
So you would just type in BNI on your Google website or Google search bar, BNI, and it'll pop up. It's the cheapest thing to get you started, especially if you're on a fixed budget. That and probably Angie's List.
Yep.
And you
Chamber
can probably
of Commerce
get more.
Too is, Chamber of Commerce
and
is pretty
Commerce.
sweet.
Yep.
I mean, and to just to drive home like why those things work, it's pretty bulletproof because not only are your ideal clients there because they're working professionals or they're business owners, but they are very likely to have friends and family in the area as well that are also likely your ideal customers that have, the ripple effect there is pretty endless. So it's the networking groups, BNI, chambers, if you're into real estate or working with realtors, there are realtor associations that you can join and go to their weekly, sometimes or 2 times a week meetings and network and get your name in front of realtors. It's just really great and super affordable ways to start marketing and getting your name out there.
Definitely. So I love it. And we've kind of already talked specifically about it, but I'd love just to ask you this point blank question of what do you feel has worked well in your marketing strategy? Like overall, what has helped your business get from where it was making $5K the first year, 140 the next year, and then almost 500 this year? Like what marketing would you say has been the best investment?
So I want to say Angie's List was probably Angie's List and BNI were the first two that kind of got me going and had leads coming in all the time, especially the first year when it was only me. Angie's List was probably right around 40 to 45,000 my first year, and BNI was a little bit slower the first year. It was probably right around, I think it was low, either high 20s or low 30s. I know I'm at like 35 with BNI this year.
Okay, awesome.
So, go ahead.
So if you had, say, 40 to 45K in Angie's List, 20K in BNI, that's 2020. What would you say, where'd the rest of the work come from? Or was it word of mouth or Facebook?
Facebook, okay. And just people like join different groups. And people are always saying, I need this fixed. I need this. Nobody's returning phone calls, or I need this. Just answer. And
right.
Thing is, just as an example, Doris needs something done. Hey, Doris, this is Keith from Dr. Fix It. We can definitely help you out with your project. Why don't you reach out to us and, leave your phone number. Just treat them like a human being.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
You'll get the job.
Love it. Success is actually pretty simple. It's just doing what you would want people to do to you. So I love it. That's great.
Next Door is a good one too, Alan.
Okay, Next
the
Door.
Next Door app.
So how do you use? I know that you mentioned that you join different Facebook groups and whatnot. How do you predominantly use it? Do you do Facebook ads? Do you post on your personal page? What does that look like? Business page?
Last year I did a lot of Facebook posts on my page. This year I'm so busy. I'm trying to get my wife to help me out here and there. This year I haven't answered any Facebook stuff at all. I haven't put my name out there. It's strictly word of mouth, my website and Angie's List this year. But I'm getting ready to get rid of Angie's List. I want everything going through my website, everything. Like if a phone call comes in, what we typically do is we send everybody to our website. This way it drives traffic to it. Yard signs, I get a lot of yard signs. Wrap your truck. My truck is wrapped. My other van is going out to get wrapped right now. Just, you got to kind of think outside the box.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yard signs, because I'm fascinated by that. What does that look like? Are you putting them just on the street corner? Are you putting them in people's front yards?
So every time I sell a job, so I only had 4 of them. I know, big company has 4 of them. I just ordered 100 of them.
Okay.
So they just came in. So every job that we do will have a yard sign. Now this is pretty close to it, but this right here is our wrap. It's in the shop.
Fantastic. Right now. That's gonna stand out. That's awesome.
Yeah. You got.
So I wanted something different
too.
What's that?
When you get that in, you got to take some nice photos of you and the team
for the website. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's so I wanted something that stuck out. Like when you see Horizon trucks, they're orange. They're heating and air conditioning guys. You know it's Horizon. The trucks are all the same. The wrap's the same. They're all dressed the same. So all my guys have the gray shirts. All our truck, my pickup, my trailer's getting wrapped. We just got a brand new trailer. My van's getting wrapped. My other F-350 is getting wrapped. I got a wrap a month right now. Starting
That's awesome.
This month, a wrap a month on each vehicle, so they're all the same.
Man, that's great. That's going to create some good brand awareness.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
Keith's colors too for Dr. Fix-It. I've never seen this combination, and if I hadn't seen his branding, I wouldn't have thought it'd work. But it's like this orange and purple.
Yeah, no, it's killer. It
stands out.
It does.
Yeah, it stands out.
It works. And so, Keith, you mentioned, when you see that Verizon truck, or like for me, it's like the Amazon semi trucks. You always can spot those. But that orange and purple on that wrap, man, that's going to be Dr. Fix-It.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and people know, like I've had phone calls from my pickup, like going into Home Depot. I have my wrap truck. It's not like that, but I have Dr. Fix-It on the side. They'll call my phone number. Hey, I saw your truck on Home Depot. I saw your truck over here in Cherry Hill at a neighbor's house. Yeah, the wrap truck, I know it costs a lot of money, but it'll pay for itself in the first year. No problem.
Good investment. If you don't mind me asking, what that picture you just showed us, what does that cost to wrap a vehicle like that? If you don't mind sharing.
So the company I used to wrap my pickup, that was a partial wrap. It was only the doors. That cost me about $1,200.
Okay.
If I went back to that same company, this would have been $4,500 to $5,000.
Wow.
So one of the B&I guys I know, my buddy Matt, he has a painting company. He had his truck wrapped, and I was like, "Wow, oh my God, that's phenomenal! I love it." He was like, "Go to my buddy. He does it." I was like, "Well, how much did you pay?" He was like, "Right around $1,500." I was like, "What?"
Wow.
I was like, "No way." So I'm paying $2,500 to get my van wrapped.
Wow.
Which is very, very reasonable.
Yeah, that's killer. So the B&I group has also saved you money. That's another plus.
I get my business insurance through B&I, workman's comp, paychecks, everything went through B&I. Everything.
We all need to get involved with some B&I.
Yeah.
Come on.
The power of a personal referral network. Like it's huge. It's huge.
Definitely.
And it keeps on going. Like as I give them business, they give you business, and it just goes back and forth all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's why you said, the first year is about like 20, 25 this year, 35, 40. So they're starting to like you more and more every year.
Yeah. They're getting used to you. They're tolerating you more.
And here's the thing. It doesn't stop there. Like when just say you're with that insurance guy that gives you work. Now I met his wife. She's a realtor. Now I get a lot of houses off of her to prep for sale. So it's continuous. just keep on getting work.
Yep, and that's fantastic. So, so Keith, you shared first year 5K, second year 140. You know, this year hopefully hitting 500. Where do you hope to be next year, the year after that, in 5 years? Where do you like foresee yourself? What are like your future goals?
Next year, I have to be over $1 million.
Wow, love it. Okay.
I
The
think I
following
remember.
year, the following year, 2 million.
I think I remember because we started working together at the start of this year, and your goal was like I think you said like 400. So I
Yeah.
think you're beating that this year.
Yeah.
So you're crushing it, man. That's so awesome. So $1 million
My
next year.
accountant said the same thing. I told him where I thought I would be at the end of this year. And he was like, dude, I remember when you first came in my office to hire me. He came out to my house. I didn't have a lot of money. It was just me and a helper.
Mm-hmm.
And he sat down and I was like, I ordered QuickBooks. I don't know anything about it. Can you help me out? Show me how to use it. He was like, yeah, I can show you how to use it. I could do it. So, give me $75 a month. I'll get you going. You're a small business. And I'm like, all right, just do it. Whatever. Just get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you need. And, I was scared. I was scared going out on my own. How am I going to bring home $1,000 a week? How's that even possible?
Right.
Now it's like, I'm looking at the next truck payment, the next trailer. Our trailers, we have saws set up inside. You can cut trim. You got lights inside, outlets, charging stations for your batteries, USB cords, everything. You can work out of these trailers the way we got it set up.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So what are some of your steps that you're going to take to hit those goals, to hit $1 million next year? So to go from 500K this year to $1 million next year, what are some steps that you're going to put in place to make that happen?
It kind of seems crazy, but I'm going to spend money to make money. I'm going to
Love
pay my
it.
guys. I'm going to pay my guys really well, insurance, and I'm hoping next year. I'm a little upset because I wanted to try to do it this year. I wanted to kind of implement a retirement program this year, but most likely it's going to be next year. So I'm looking at healthcare, dental, 401k, and paying my guys good. This way they don't leave. If I take care of my guys, treat them well, that's gonna. So my top guy brought one of his guys that he used to work with. So he knows he's an A player.
Mm-hmm. That's
he's
cool.
not as good as my lead guy, but he's up there.
Yeah.
So, I forgot the other bonus thing. My guys bring in a technician, $1,000 to them after 90 days.
Love it. After 90
$1,000.
Days. Okay.
After 90 days.
90 days, so they got to be good. Got to make it a week, buddy. Come on.
I like
90
that.
days,
That's
$1,000 bonus.
That's awesome.
I
commend you for taking care of your people. I mean, I think that's huge. You hear most talk about like saving money and, you can't pay over this, but from what you've shared with us, you're really looking for all the different ways that you can build up your team, which points to something that I know I've talked about on here before, but something I saw or read, and it said, as business owners, we aren't building a business. We're building people, and those people, do everything. So, our work should be building up people, and it sounds like you're really focused on that. So I commend you for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So here's the thing. If you really think about it, any job that you had in the past, if the way you were treated, if you were treated great that day, you probably performed really good. So I'm trying to set an area where my guys come into work. It's no drama. If the job's running behind, no, we don't yell. Let's figure out how to get it done, how we move forward, and how we can fix it for next time. Yes, it's about money, but we're all human beings. So I'm just trying to create that workplace, good environment where if you listen to other podcasts or other people, that you'll have employees instead of me paying like ZipRecruiter to find these employees or whatever, they'll want to come to us because of the environment that I created, that we create, that all of us are happy to be at work, and the pay is good. So it's just that work environment. If you create a good one, you're going to get the people to come to you. And that's what I'm hoping for next year.
Man, I love it. I love that kind of thought of creating more performance by investing in the bottom line. Like, I think that's really cool. And you don't hear that from most people. So that's really awesome, Keith.
Here's another thing. Like, I asked my top guy, I said, you do a lot of side work. Like, what's it going to take for you to stop doing side work? Well, I need so much an hour. Well, what's that number? And I asked him, and he told me. And I was like, all right, so once you're there, you can stop side work and live comfortably. Yeah. All right. He asked me a week later, yo, why'd you ask me that? Because I know where you got to be in a couple years. So he knows I'm thinking about him. He knows he's going to be there. I already gave him raises. It's about taking care of your people. You take care of him, he'll train another guy. He's going to run your company. He's going to be the top guy of my company. So you got to take care of him. Anybody comes in.
That's a common thread that I've heard of. A big catalyst to being able to grow, certainly past like a couple techs, is having that foreman that you can rely on to do everything, and you take care of them. I know Alan has Frank on his team that is just an all-star that he takes care of really well. But I can't imagine the amount of confidence and stress that can take off of you by having someone that you can trust is going to be there, and that person enjoys that opportunity and appreciates what you do for them.
Yeah. And it's a huge help. You have the right guy in your corner. It's a huge, huge help.
Yeah. So we got like about 5 minutes left. I'd like to see if we can fit in 2 questions here. One of them, I know you're not going to want, you might not like, Keith, but I want to know like how you stay organized. I know you drive around like that, answering calls, emails, you're in the Home Depot parking lot. You got a ton going on. So is there anything that you do to kind of, keep your sanity, keep things organized, or are you kind of just flying around doing the best you can? If you could kind of shed a little light on how you keep things together and keep your guys on the job.
All right. So the organization with the guys is through my app, which is Markate. That tells them what job they're doing, everything they need to do with their job, supplies, everything. As far as me answering phones and all that, I'm probably about 90% there. Lately, what I've been doing, if I tell someone we're going to do this, this, and this, I make them hold on the phone. Yes, it's a customer. They're going to hold on the phone. Let me do it now while I have you on the phone so it gets done. And I'll say that to them, because if I don't, I'll forget and we won't have this appointment. So just bear with me. I'm going to talk out loud to myself. We're going to type this up. I got a laptop in my truck. I got a cell phone in my truck. I work out of my truck. And any appointments, I throw them right in the book right away. Any estimates, I have on my clipboard. I try to put the customer's name. I take a photo of where I'm going and then photos of the whole job on my phone. I'll write down on a piece of paper what they want, like, what repairs they want, what I think it is, and just kind of write detailed notes. And then I'll transfer that to my work order. So it's a lot of notes.
Markate, and then your guys can see that when they get to the job site.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The only thing they can't see is pricing. But my foreman knows everybody knows what I charge an hour. So it's not like it's a big secret. They just can't see pricing and the customer can't see pricing. But they bring my checks back to me, so they know what I'm charging. It's no secret.
Yeah. I've heard that that's a good practice to put in your business, is that the whole team knows the value and the cost of the customer. What do you think about that, Alan?
So
I don't think we've talked about that before.
Yes, it's important, but you're going to have guys that say, and I'm sure you guys come across this, wow, that's a big check, man. You must be really making money. But at the same time, pay the $70,000 of insurance that I'm paying a year.
Right.
They don't think about it. They think like the one guy I had, and he didn't make it that long. He was like, dude, you're only paying me $20 an hour. That's all it costs you to have me. They don't realize what it costs to run a business.
No, it takes a lot. And
No.
I found that it's pretty important to be transparent, to keep that transparency open in our business. But, that is something that you can definitely have, is those people that are like, hey, you're making X amount and you're only paying me X amount. But I'm even open about that. I'm like, hey, like even at the very beginning when we first hire you, like I'm paying you $20 an hour, but it's actually cost me more like 35. Like just be straight upfront with them about all my expenses. And then that way, and I don't need to justify my hourly rate to them, but
No.
it is, I'm willing to talk about it if needed, and I think that really creates a good company culture, because people buy in and they understand why you're charging what you're charging. And then they therefore are not going to, offer the client a discount behind your back or whatnot. That's at least what I found. Yeah.
And I don't know if you do this, but I also get them to fill out a non-compete form. Do that, Alan?
We have that in our contract, but I haven't had to fill it out for anyone at this point. So we've never filled it out, but we have the verbiage is there. We just haven't actually implemented it.
Every guy that comes aboard signs that.
Mm-hmm.
All it states is basically they're not going to steal my customers. Any stuff that we do won't compete against us with our customers. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only stipulation that I put in along those lines is any documentation is obviously, it's ours, right? And anything that you get from us, you need to get back when you leave. So as far as them going out starting their own handyman business, like more power to you, because I like challenge, so I'm all for it if they want to go. But by and large, what I've seen is if you're honest with people, they stick around and they buy into your mission.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, one last question for you, Keith, before we sign off here. A lot of our listeners, they're thinking about starting a business, handyman business, or they're new, they might be struggling. What kind of advice would you have for somebody that might just be getting into this?
I guess the first couple things is, and I'm sure you hear it all the time, know your numbers. Figure out what it costs to run your business, what you want to make, your bills, all that stuff. And it's very important because I left a lot of money on the table. My first two end of the years, I left a lot of money on the table. I never marked up my materials. Mark it up at least 20 to 25%. Some guys do 50%. Some guys do 100%. Figure out what you're going to mark up your materials. Figure out what your guys are charging your area. And if they're 65, it doesn't mean you have to do 65. You can do 85 or 95. But when you start out, you might be a little bit lower, but don't be that cheap guy, because all you're doing is going to drive the rates down. Everybody's going to flood you with work, and you think you're busy and making money, and you could be making a lot more money. I guess so it's knowing your price. If you get too overwhelmed, hire a helper, because you're going to burn yourself out. Even if it's a $15 an hour guy, I know it seems a lot, but it's not. Mm-hmm. It'll help you out. It'll help you get through the week. You'll make more money with that helper. Advertise. Get your website going. And just go for it. Don't be scared. I was really scared.
Love it.
It took me a while. I've had 2 other businesses, never went full time. I joined Alan's group. It kind of gave me a boost of confidence. There was a couple. He's got a couple Facebook groups. It gave me a boost of confidence seeing other guys that didn't have a lot of experience, but kind of got in the game and wanted to do it. And you just hire people that are better than you, and you'll go far.
Yep.
My foreman is better than me. My accountant is better than me. The helper. The second carpenter I hired. I hope there's stuff that he's better than me right now. I hope there is stuff. I don't know yet, because he's only been with me for a week. But
that's fantastic.
You hire people that are better than you, and you'll go far.
Yep, that's huge. I think that's what it's all about. Is hiring people that have strengths where your weaknesses are. You know, I think that's important.
Yeah, and there's this gut feeling too, like Keith had, like calling your wife, baby, I think I'm leaving.
Well, yeah, it's a true story though, and you can ask my wife. And I tell you what, I'd love for the end of next year to chat with you guys and see where I if I come back on and see if I hit my numbers or talk to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll hit my numbers next year too.
We will definitely have to have you on for sure.
That's what we're planning on doing. I mean, we're in our, this will be episode 8 or 9, but our plan is to bring back on guys and not only the accountability side, but just to hear how the journey's going for you after a year or so. So, man, I can't wait to connect again next year on the podcast, and you could tell us, oh, it's going to be 1.2.
like Handyman Success Revisited, or revisit all of our old ones. So we're going to go ahead and chime off. Keith, it has been a pleasure. We are blessed to know you and so honored to have you part of this handyman industry and this handyman movement. So thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It was an honor, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. And for those of you listening out there, remember to like this video on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and also join the Handyman Success Podcast. Post a question and tag Keith in there, because Keith will be in there to answer all of your questions. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. These podcasts are produced every 1st and 15th of every month. So catch the next one and go ahead and watch the old ones while you're waiting. So we'll catch you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.